Okay, so we're gonna do a video about how to get sponsors. And so we're just gonna talk a little bit before we begin about what is a sponsorship. So sponsorship is when someone or an organization gives you money so that you can compete in robotics or have money to buy parts and further your team. So that a sponsorship can help with buying parts, transportation, traveling expenses, anything that relates to the team. And do you need a sponsorship? Absolutely, because whether you think it's useful or not, you're going to need money to do things. So if you get other people to help you pay for it, it's less burden on team parents, the coaches, and the overall team if you have extra help with it. So we're going to talk about how to get a sponsorship and a few sponsors that you can ask for money. So we're going to start with local. So I recommend figuring out, and you can even do like a brain map like I started off with. You can figure out your local companies and partners that you can work with. So I just listed off 3 examples. So for government, you can always go and talk to your mayor or the Chamber of Commerce, and they might not give you money, but they might give you connections to be able to go and get sponsors, or it might just be a good outreach opportunity to put yourself and your team out there. With large companies, sit down and think about what large companies does your area have specifically. So for us here in Springdale, Arkansas, we have Tyson, Walmart, and JB Hunt, to name a few. And so we have gone and presented to these companies, told them a little bit about who we are as a team, what we do, and even brought our robot and showed them like us driving and stuff like that, so that they get an idea of like what we do and who we are. And if they can see a physical object of the output that you guys have, the robot, they are more likely to connect with you guys and to be willing to help. But also don't forget about small companies, because small companies can be just as useful as large companies. So here in Springdale, we have a company named Shamrock, and they help with bolts, screws, and stuff like that. And they are extremely important because we go through a bunch of bolts and screws, whether they get lost on the floor or we build so many prototypes that we run out. They're super helpful in letting us come in and get either discounted prices or a few free screws with how much we buy. And don't discard or think that discounts aren't as valuable as grants or sponsorships, because they are just as equally important. Because in the end of the year, if you can save $200, that's $200 less than what you would have to pay. So sponsorships and grants and discounts are all equally important. But you can also talk to clubs and organizations like Kiwanis. If you go and present to them, they are likely to get to know you and want to know your journey and help you through your journey, and they'll be 100% on board with trying to help you. So just a few tips when talking with local people is go and meet them. If they know who you are and they can see you face to face, it builds a connection and they're more likely to want to help. Also, give them something physical that they can see, like bring your robot, and make sure you tell them about your goals. So if you don't know what your goals are as a growing in a team, they're not sure what you're going to spend the money on. So if you say our goal is to go to Houston, Detroit, and volunteer or compete, they're going to know that that money is going towards travel expenses and lodging. But you can also look at more of the national level. And this one's kind of iffy because it depends on where you live, but just a few one is the Cronix Foundation. So if you live in a city where there's an Cronix plant, they can give you a grant whether you're a rookie team or a veteran team. So if you're a rookie team, they'll give you a larger amount. And if you're a veterans team, they'll give you a smaller amount. And that was for last year. I don't know if they're continuing it to do it this year, but it's definitely something to look into, especially if you're a veteran team, because I know it's a little bit harder sometimes for veteran teams to find money just because there's a lot of rookie grants out there. You can also go to First Rookie Grants on the First website, and they will tell you how to apply. The application's on the website, and it's pretty short turnaround, and rookies tend to get the grant. And then Tetrix and Andy Mark. So they are part suppliers, and they don't necessarily have sponsorships or grants, but they give discounted price, or they have a discounted section on their website, which is absolutely useful since we use a lot of Andy Mark and Tetrix on our team. And then there's Rev and America's Promise Alliance. So Rev has a sponsorship for veteran teams to where you can go and apply, and they'll give you a certain amount of in-store credit for parts. And then America Promise Alliance, they have several grants on their website that you can go and look at and see if one or more applies to your team. So here again is another note that discounts are helpful because anything helps when it comes to paying for things. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have Google. So for Google, I searched up a few key terms like STEM grants or robotics grants, extracurricular grants, or team grants. And those were really my key goals. And so I got all this plus more when I looked that up. So this has 2 grants on it. It has an innovation grant as well as a team grant that you can go and apply to. The applications are on the websites, and it takes they have deadlines, so make sure that you pay attention to the deadlines when you apply. Then all these other ones down here have several grants.